What is going on, guys? It's Colin here for NextGenTactics, and I'm bringing you some Medal of Honor 2010 gameplay, which was requested on a previous video of mine. And it's just a quick game of sector control on Kunar base. I spawn in and my team's losing by about 500 points, which I think the game goes like 2,500, so this is not good. And just like in Bad Company 2, players don't tend to play the objective all the time. And in Medal of Honor, you actually were rewarded for kind of camping and going for kills and points, because you were rewarded with score chains. And I think that's what was happening in this game. My team and their team were trying to rack up score chains and just drop air support on the head of the enemy spawn. And that really had a snowball effect in Medal of Honor, especially because the maps were just so small. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this game because a few things. I put out a video previously asking what we thought that Medal of Honor would lend to Battlefield 3 when it came to development time, as I watched that guy moonwalk a little bit. And a lot of people kind of railed against that video, saying, I hope that Battlefield 3 borrows nothing from Medal of Honor. Well, we have learned that a few things from Medal of Honor are going to be seen in Battlefield 3. Now, one of the first things is the way that you customize your class setup. And in Medal of Honor, that everything to do with customization had to do with your weapon. So you'd choose a sight, you'd choose a barrel attachment, and you would choose a something to do with your ammunition or the magazine. So you might have extra ammo, you might have hollow point ammo, that sort of thing. And I felt that actually worked quite well. So you actually had 3 attachments on the gun: the rail, the barrel, and the magazine. And so I think that level of customization is going to be happening in Battlefield 3. Now, something else that I've seen rumored to be going in Battlefield 3 is faction-specific weapons. So if you're on the American side, you had one set of weapons that you could pick. If you were on the opposing force, you had another set of weapons. Once you ranked up to a certain point, you could actually use the other faction's weapons also and use basically whatever you wanted. But, up until that point, you were limited. And in Medal of Honor, the gun selection was fairly limited to begin with. But what that meant was that, the guns had very, very similar characteristics in the name of balance. They just had kind of a different skin, sound, that sort of thing. And in sector control, like, I use the Rifleman class a lot. It's probably my favorite class in Medal of Honor, just because of this, because of the smoke grenades, which is only equipped on that Rifleman class. And, so I just keep tossing smoke on the B flag and capturing it over and over. As my team, for the longest time, doesn't really work to hold it. And I push up too much a few times after I capture it and we lose it. So right here, I'm just trying to drop a mortar strike to hold the enemies back so we can keep this flag a little bit longer and try and close the gap between us and the enemies, as I get a little double spray here. So, as much as some people really, really hated this game, there were some great things about it. The sound design was amazing. I thought that, given that it was like a 30 frames per second console game, it actually looked really good. And I hope to see those characteristics in Battlefield. I know we're going to see amazing sound design and a great looking game. Now, one thing that people were crazy concerned about would be the inclusion of the score chain rewards in Battlefield 3. Now, if you racked up a certain score, either through completing objectives, getting kills, assists, and that sort of thing in Medal of Honor, you were entitled to call in score chains. You had offensive and defensive. Defensive score chains were things that benefited the whole team, like a UAV sweep, match ammunition, flak jackets, that sort of thing. And offensive score chains were air support, a mortar strike, rocket strikes, strafing run, cruise missile, that sort of thing. So the offensive score chains were intended to get you kills. And a lot of people go for those offensive score chains, but you were also rewarded with points for calling in the defensive score chains that helped you, move along to your next streak. And I thought that was actually a pretty good design. The issue that I took with it is that it was too easy to, just basically get a team in their spawn because of the small size of the maps and the shitty spawn design, and just start raining air support down on their spawn, which enabled you to rack up some crazy streaks, but it just wasn't fair and it wasn't fun. And, if the spawn system had been better, maybe if the maps had been a bit bigger, without all the choke points, especially in combat mission, then it might not have been a bad thing to implement. But my friends who actually got a chance to play Battlefield 3 at E3 said that, they racked up, like Don't Blink racked up some very substantial kill streaks, and there were no rewards for that, which is great. I don't want to see any kind of kill streaks or rewards in Battlefield 3. From an offensive kill streak perspective, in Battlefield 3, you have access to vehicles, so you can fly a jet, you can fly a chopper, that sort of thing. You can take a tank. You don't need to call in an AI-controlled air support or what have you. And I just don't think there's any place for it in Battlefield 3, and it appears that it isn't in Battlefield 3. So I think that that's fantastic, and I'm hoping for a much better spawn design. Clearly, we're going to have much larger maps. So the map design with all kinds of choke points, those just stink, and so I'm hoping that the epic maps in Battlefield 3 will provide you with options for routes and that sort of thing. But anyway, guys, that's it for me. I just wanted to give you some quick Medal of Honor gameplay, talk about some of the features that we know will and will not be in Battlefield 3 that were kind of tried out by DICE in Medal of Honor. So, until next time, cheers. We'll talk soon.
Hey guys, we now have our own website. Actually, we've always had our own website, but why not follow us on there? There you'll find all our videos conveniently sorted into playlists by game, as well as videos from many other directors that are part of our NGT network.